Video, I'm going to show you how you can set up ChatGPT to add some drafted email templates or some daily motivational quotes or some jokes into your email as you send to anybody. So the idea is that in this example, I'm going to just take attaching some daily inspiring motivational quotes from ChatGPT into my email program. My email program is a Gmail. In case you are a Gmail user or a G Apps user or a Zoho Mail user or a Microsoft Outlook user or Proton email user, again the concept is same. I'm going to just copy paste a few lines of code which is already there on the website, which you can do it yourself. Even if you are not a developer, you can do this. In case you are a admin or a developer or a big company, you can create this, and all your company members or your piece can install this, and of course you can integrate ChatGPT, right? So let's go ahead and show. This example is primarily into Gmail. Okay, so the first step is that you need to get the API key from the ChatGPT. Okay, so please visit the OpenAI, like openai.com. So when you get there, select the developers. You need to log in. I already logged in into the openai.com. Okay, just visit the website and do login. That's very important. Okay, and then go to the developers, click API references, and you see all this. The first step, go ahead and click the authentication, right? If you click authentication, you can see the examples like this, where you have to go and create your API key, the profile icon, and where you will see the API keys as a menu. All you need to just click this profile icon, and there will be a sub menu called API keys, and then you will see the page like this, or you just visit this URL directly after login. Okay, it's platform.openai.com/accounts slash API-keys. Okay, so you can create a new API key, or you can use your existing API keys. It is not necessary you need to create multiple API keys. It's just once you create, it's more than enough. So in this case, I'm going to use a very short lived API key, because after this demo, I will remove this key. Okay, because I'm going to expose my secret key. That's okay. Gmail integration key. Okay, type whatever the name that suits for you in your use case. Create API key and just copy this. Okay, that's it. You have created the API key. Now make sure you copy it. You have to go and paste somewhere, right? So now go to your Gmail, and from there you open the drive. Okay, when you are there on the drive, go ahead and create new app script. Okay, you see this menu. In case if you don't see this menu, for example, Google App Script, you click connect more apps and search the Google App Script, and it will get added this menu. Okay, I just click on this, and you type whatever the name you wanted. It's like any other file. Okay, let's not worry that this is a script of programming. It's going to be really copy paste. Okay, type whatever the name. In our case, we can say Gmail ChatGPT. Okay, just to rename. It's only for renaming it. The first step is that I'm going to save the API key I have copied, right? Const ChatGPT API key. It, whatever the name. Okay, just it's a variable name. Just save it. Let me little bit zoom this so that it will be easy to read. Okay, all right. I copy pasted. Now go and visit the this particular URL. Okay, I copy paste this one into my, I mean, this is available on the Google website. I mean, of course, Google doesn't talk about anything in ChatGPT here. It just, Google is superb API. We can go ahead and integrate ChatGPT with a few lines of additional code with this. Copy and go to your code. I just add here for your reference. If you are watching this video, you can use this. Okay, this is the URL you need to visit. Okay, and make sure you visit this particular page in order to create the API keys. Okay, one, create API keys from the chat GPT, and then copy the code from the Google extension. I mean, I would say Gmail extension. Okay, I go to this particular URL, and all we need to just copy this particular gmail.gs. I mean, you can do many things with Google Calendar, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Spread. In this case, we go to the gmail.gs. There are few other common examples also available. If you wish, you can just go ahead and read what it's all about. So in my case, I copy this and go to my the code I explained. Just replace this particular method. Okay, I have done it. Okay, whatever the code it gives, I am not going to touch any of that. Let it be, and simply save this file. Okay. Now the next step, as you go through, they'll also talk about some configuration file. Okay, click the project setting and click the app.json manifest editor and click edit, paste this. Okay, just go to this, you see this setting button, and go there. I don't see the app.json, right? Just click this one. Okay, now go back to the code. You can see that particular file. You see it wasn't there. After changing the setting, I can see the app script.json. So whatever I copied from this particular part, okay, let's paste here. That's it. Okay, again I just copy pasted all the code. Don't worry, copy paste is always good. If you are a developer, if you are senior developer, it's always good. Okay, copy paste is the best way to write a code. Now it got some images. These things I can explain later. Okay, so here there are some name. I mean, if you are okay with this, you can leave it as such. Nothing to worry. But you wanted to really, I mean, if you know JavaScript or a JSON kind of thing, you wanted to really customize some of the names. Okay, you can type it. In my case, again, it is not a mandatory. You can leave it as such. But I wanted to really make some, I mean, the names are relevant, and they have some image also. Can we go ahead and search and get some logo? Yeah, chat GPT icon, something like that. I'm just going to, copy. Can you take this one? All right, or this one? Both looks good, or this one? I'll go the first one. Okay, just copy and right click. I mean, do right click and copy image address. Okay, come back to your code and maybe paste this. Okay, because that logo will get added. All right, then come down. So whatever it is there, we can leave it. Instead of insert cat, I would say insert inspiring quote for the day. I mean, leave it. I mean, it's okay. All right, just save it. So we done the customization of the UI. Now there is a small part you need to add a code. So here, this particular JSON really a configuration file of Google App Script. Like when I open the email, what should happen? For example, if I go and open one of the existing email, what should happen? If I compose a new email, what should happen? So those are all the conditions they have given here. It's like a trigger, okay? Here you see when someone, I mean when I compose, I mean when I open the email, this particular on trigger function on Gmail message function. When a drive is selected, this has to execute. So something like that they are given a function, okay? As I told you, we can leave it as such. Let's go to the code part, okay? So here on Gmail message, they have written something. I'm not going to touch it. On Gmail compose, right? In our use case, I mean, you can build a lot of other things. You go and refer the Gmail API, and there are a lot of examples, a lot of events or actions that you can hook and you can write your code. So in this case, we are going to insert inspiring quote from the ChatGPT. So I'm going to use the on mail compose function as is. Okay. So here instead of quote, insert, I mean instead of insert cat, I'm going to say insert quote. Okay. And I don't think we need a subtitle. All right. So we can remove it. So think like other cases. Um, you know, here can we say um, this is a real example. Okay. Where we are going to really um, give a caption to the text box. This is going to really build a small UI. In the UI, we are going to type something. I mean, we can ask anything ChatGPT. It's not about a quote. We can ask a joke. We can ask a story. Whatever you wanted to compose, or you need a leave letter, something like that. It can compose. Okay. So instead of that, ask Chat GPT. That's going to be the menu. And here we say this is a hint for the user. Ask any question to the Chat GPT. Here ask question. I mean, again, please make sure you can leave all of them as is. No need to change. It's okay, but I wanted to make my UI a little good, so I did this way. Okay. If you look at it here, if you wanted to really understand this particular script, um, you need not to, but here you see when I click the button from the UI, okay, which means after running this script, I will have a new button here. Okay. I'll show you. Um, so when I click the button, a small dialog box will appear. This is the dialog box configuration. Okay. So here when I click that, the action will trigger on Gmail insert cat. Okay. Here let's change ask question, or yeah, ask question with Chat GPT. That's going to be my function, right? You all know that it was this one, right? So early it was this one. I simply replace that function. So again, you can keep it whatever it was as is. So no need to worry. So in this case, I'm going to remove all the code here except the last line. Okay, let's remove it. Again, we no need this particular part. Okay, here if you see, when I click the icon, it is going to give a small text box where I am going to type my question. For example, give me the leave letter to my manager, give me the a quote, or give me the inspiring story, something like that. That particular text will be available here. Okay. Now what are we going to do? We are going to ask the Chat GPT, correct? Let's write a small function. I interface with the Chat GPT. Okay. All right. If you go and look at the Chat GPT, the developer API documentation, they have given the RESTful service. For example, this one. Okay. And you can go ahead and use this curl call. But of course, this curl call is a basic example for any integration. I'm going to convert this particular curl code to another, a small JavaScript which Google can understand. Okay, so let's go ahead and um, find out curl code to Google App Script Converter. Okay, I find this interesting site, okay, where you can actually go and generate. All right, I'll copy paste this URL also. That will be useful. Let's see, use this URL to generate Google App Script equivalent from the curl code. Okay, so what are we going to do? Just copy this one, right? Or sorry, this is asking a model, but let's ask the question, right? Here we say that this is the question part. Let's go ahead and copy, go to this particular website, keep the post method, paste this. Okay, in terms of header, they mentioned, I'm sorry, I'm switching multiple windows. We need to have a content type, application JSON, authorization token, something like this. And you have the content JSON and authorization token. We can remove this one. Okay. Yeah, I think it's empty. I did not type anything. It just gives a placeholder. And we are going to put a request body. Okay. Go to the chat GPT and copy this request body and paste this. That's it. If you done this, you will see the exact Google App Script here. Of course, if you are a Node.js developer or other, um, oh, I mean, Java developer or Python developer, there are multiple ways you can generate this kind of code. Okay, there are plenty of tools out there like Postman, Client, and all those things. In my case, I'm going to just copy this one. Okay, and go back to your Google Apps Script. Let's paste here. In my case, I'm going to use the function that the name I have written. Okay, all right. Now everything ready. Okay, so now we wanted to really know what response or the structure of the response. Okay, here you see we pass the question to this particular method, correct? Okay, sorry, let's copy this and put this and send this question to the this particular method. Okay, here I say that this is the question. All right, so from the UI I'm going to get the question. The question will be passed to this particular method. This question will be passed as a question to the ChatGPT, okay, via the REST call or a curl call or RESTful call, whatever. Okay, so after that I get the response code and the response text. In my case, I'm going to simply written the response here and just cut these two lines. Okay, now you come back in this part. Okay, now whatever the response you are going to pass, then it will be inserted into the email compose option. All right, so before we pass this, what we need to do is we need to understand the structure of the response. Okay, like whether ChatGPT gives a plain text or a JSON or a XML or some kind of text, right? Just go ahead and they say, hey, this will give the response something like this. Okay, copy this. Okay, just for the documentation purpose, come back. Okay, and paste here. This one we can of course remove. This is a response. Okay, this is the structure of the response we will review, but this particular content will vary based on your question. But however, if you look at it, the overall response is a JSON from the ChatGPT. So it starts with maybe this is the use, we know it, we are not going to take from here. It has a choices, right? And it has an array, and then within the message it got a content, right? This is the structure we are going to take. Okay, go here. We have a response, correct? From the chat GPT, I mean, we are sending this to this particular method. It is returning the response. We just catch the response as a variable. Okay, now before we go ahead and do something, okay, if let's check whether ChatGPT really gives a response. Maybe your API is expired or some. I mean, definitely it is never expiry token, but as a developer, adding some additional validation would always better for managing the exceptions. But if you are a new user, you really need not to think about this particular lines. Okay, these are all optional. Okay, in my case, what I'm doing is I'm checking whether response code is not equal to 200. So 200 is, I mean, if I get to 200, that's a success code. Okay, in any RESTful service, there will be a lot of code numbers. In that, 200 means it is successful. Okay, in my case, I'm checking not equal to 200. Okay, then I would say that return nothing, or I would say empty string, or even if you want to say no response from the chat GPT, right? Okay, so assume that there is, it is now 200, then we will get a response, correct? How do we do? Few more lines, we are almost there. Let's go ahead and take the response, right? Const response props equal to json.parse, because the chat GPT will give the JSON, but when we get in the Google Apps Script, we'll get it as a text, so that we need to parse that as a JSON. Okay, so now we parse the JSON and we are going to take the value from here. Okay, so what is the actual response? It is going to be it will be under response and the choices, right? The choices is an array. Let's add the, I mean, array, take the first item in which there will be a message, in which there will be a content. Okay, this is the actual response we collect. I mean, if you are an experienced developer, you may need to manage, there's some exception here, whether it is an array, whether it got an item inside of the array, something like that. But this, in this case, this is really more than enough. Okay, before we do return, okay, before we do return, let's go ahead and find how really Google wants to return to the draft. You remember we checked it and we removed a few lines, but in this case, let's go ahead and find that the last case should be, um, it should be something like this. Okay, we need to really send a response something like this. Okay, copy this and paste here. So we are taking the response. In our case, it's not really required. Let's do the return, and this line not required. So where the actual content is, can we take the content here? Here is the actual content go. So in our case, let's go ahead and use the variable from here. Okay, and done. So the actual JSON response is placed into this part and it will be written as a, I mean, these are all the Google required code. I will leave it. This is just Google code. Let's not go deeper into it. Now we've done it, right? Let's go ahead and install. Click case. Please understand why I have to write all this, because you can just go ahead and ask the ChatGPT directly in the ChatGPT window, and you can copy paste the response into the Gmail, right? Yeah, that is absolutely fine. But if you do this once, and there will be a utility or icon will be embedded into your Gmail, then forever the icon will be there and you can ask ChatGPT any question and the response will be embedded into the email compose option. All right. Let's go ahead and do it. Um, so as I told you, right, I'm done. Everything is done. Let me go and show you, right? So this is a one-time exercise, whatever I've done so far for a lifetime. Then you will get the icon forever here. Let's go ahead and click compose. You see, everything looks normal, right? The same way you and I see the Gmail, right? You don't see anything additional, right? That's cool. Now, so we have written the script. We need to install the script into your Gmail once, okay? So I wanted to, show you how it will, differentiate this window. Go ahead and click and install. For that, um, you need to click a test deployment. Okay, just you do assume that I make sure that you save both the code. Okay, just go ahead and click the test deployment. As you click, you can see this particular thing. Okay, come down, click install. Don't worry, it is 100% safe. Okay, let's go ahead and click install, and that done. You're done. Okay, just done. You now that's it. So now I written a script and I installed it. Now the icon is going to really appear. I mean, you need to really refresh once. Okay, and now let's see the magic. Okay, you see the icon is added. This icon will be forever in my Gmail. I can use it always. You see the same icon also added here. Okay, if you think after that, oh, if some reason you wanted to remove, don't worry. Go back to the same script, click and go to the test deployment, and you can see something like uninstall now. If you click uninstall, that particular icon will be removed. Okay. In my case, I want this icon forever. I wanted to just keep this. Okay. So there are, okay, we can talk about other options, okay, how you can export this or how you can share this to your friends or your colleagues, or how you can install this to your entire, um, you know, of Office GApps user, something like that. We can discuss that, okay. Of course, you can simply go ahead and the most and simple way, you just share a read-only access and ask them to just open the link and click test deployment and install once. That's the most pretty option, simple option. Or you can publish this as a Google extension. You see this extension, right? If you click this extension, but you need to go and submit this extension to the Google App Store, and the App Store should approve in order to publish this API, so that everyone can go and install that as an extension from this menu. Okay, that little lengthy process that I'm not going to talk about, but in my case, in this demo, my intention is to show how to integrate the ChatGPT with the Gmail. So now we're done. Okay, can we go ahead and use it, right? You're all thrilled? Okay, let's zoom a little bit. Okay, just to make this video useful. All right, a little bit smaller. Okay, can we go ahead and ask? Just click this icon. You remember, these are all the entry that we customized this, because it was something like a cat kind of things. Okay, okay. Please note that, sorry, I did not mention, when you run the script the first time, Google will ask you to authorize. Okay, this is at the very first time, Google will ask you to authorize. Okay, just click allow and go ahead and say okay. Now it will authorize. Okay, that's it. Further time it will not ask. It just only once. Okay, it's just authorization. Now furthermore, any other day you just come and click the compose icon. This icon will be readily available. Now I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Okay, um, provide an inspiring quote for the day. Okay, see, think like, if you have a set of questions, predefined questions, I would say that give me the leave email draft or inspiring quote, a small joke, whatever you wanted to embed into the email, that you can create. And um, you know then when you build the Gmail script here, right? Instead of giving a text box, because text box you can always type any question, but you have a standard template, you can just go ahead and create it as a drop down, and the drop down will be available here for you to select anytime. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and see. Click OK. Ha, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I know what it is. Let's go ahead and fix. Okay, go back to your code. You remember we created this key, but we did not specify in the code. Sorry, that's one of the mistake. You come down here. We have a API key, right? Instead of that, you paste here, and in addition to that, if you really look at the OpenAI thing, they mentioned along with the API, we need to add a bearer token. All right, so just go ahead and click. It's a bearer token. And there is one more thing. Whenever you run the script, right? So it takes these are all the authorization for you. It is executing maybe a calendar, I mean your calendar access, the compose access. These are all the permissions. We need to add one more permission because we added the external URL call, which means we are going to call the ChatGPT URL. That's called external URL. We need to add the relevant permission also. So in that case, I would say we need to add the same like author slash script. I mean, sorry, up to this part, and script auth dot script dot. It is external. Sorry, external est. Okay, so this is a one you need to really type, or you need to, this is a scope. Okay, this defines what are all the scope is required for this particular script to execute. Okay, um, how do we, so now we modify the script, right? Will Google know that, I mean, is your Gmail knows that you modified? I'm not sure, but what we can do is just go ahead and reinstall, because anyway we made it. I uninstall once. Okay, I reinstall. Okay, done. Sorry, this is a mistake. I missed it, or I committed. So now if you wanted to modify, how you can do, you can just go ahead and update the script, and you can go and reinstall. All right, now you go back. I will do a refresh once, just to make sure nothing going wrong. Okay, I see the same icon again. Now let's click. Okay, ask now. Say again, you need to authorize, right? Because why this is asking again now, because now we went and change the authorization, correct? Because now we change the scope in the script, so it is looking for further calling the external URL, so it is asking for further access, because whenever you modify the script which requires some special permission, it will ask something like this. So just go ahead and authorize. Let me zoom this little bit. In your computer, if you don't see this icon here or here, don't worry, you may go and click on this um, icon. You may see the same icon here, something like that. I mean, it depends on how many other add-ons you have. Okay, just you can go and find out here. So let's go ahead and execute. Click and provide an inspiring quote for the day. Okay, let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT. Yep, you see. Okay, we got the quote, correct? I mean, you wanted to really go and add some, I mean, your signature or some hi something or whatever the personal touch you wanted to do. All these things you can go ahead and add before that, just put a hi or whatever. Okay, you can do all those things here. You can add your signature and everything. Those part are pretty easy. Can we go ahead and ask something else? um, let's remove this. Okay, can we go ahead and ask something like um, give me a joke. Okay, uh, of course it will. Why could not the bicycle stand by itself? Because it was too tired. It's so funny, right? Okay, let's say I ask some leave letter to your boss. Okay, provide um, leave office leave letter. Okay, because let's be more specific. Office leave letter, um, uh, being sick. Okay, maybe you can ask some just short description, and you can go ahead and ask. You will get the draft. Okay, see, dear manager, I'm writing this letter to inform you that I am unable to come to work due to illness. Okay, I'm not going to read the entire this, but you all know what it is. Okay, so as I told you, you can add your signature in the code itself. You have like a signature insert kind of Google app code. So this is the way you can integrate the ChatGPT into your Gmail. So look at my other videos how you can integrate ChatGPT with Google Spread, PowerPoint, or it doesn't matter whether it is a Google or whatever the application. Just a few lines of code, and you can go ahead and interface with the ChatGPT, and you can do awesome. Thanks for watching. Bye.